So this comes from a larger inquiry in economic theory about the nature of capital. And capital is some kind of resource that you can invest, you can plow into the activities of life in order to get more of something back, either that kind of capital or something else. So money is usually what people think capital is. You can invest money to get more money. But it's now recognized there's many other kinds of capital. There's natural capital, and there's financial capital. There's, I can't remember the name of it, but you have factories and stuff like that. That kind of resource is also capital. On human capital, so human capital is like intellectual capital, but social capital is specifically about relationships. And so what we want in a thriving democracy is good connection within groups. We want strong groups and associations, and we want people who are in those groups and associations to be able to relate to other people who are in other groups and associations, so that the community as a whole, people are connected with each other. And depending on what's going on, people can act within their groups or between their groups. If there's a major natural catastrophe or some economic hardship, major factory leaves or whatever, you want the people in the community to be able to come together across various ideological and interest boundaries. So the more you can invest in social capital, the more you are able to be resilient as a community and generate collective intelligence and wisdom. If people generally don't like each other, don't relate to each other, hole up in their own little spaces, socially and physically, then it's kind of hard to generate collective wisdom for use by the larger society. So social capital is one of the things you invest in order to have the capacity to generate more collective wisdom and intelligence. And so you can generate, when you create social capital. I realize I just thought I should include that collective wisdom nurtures and invests social capital to generate not only more social capital, but greater abundance and well-being generally, but it should also add more collective wisdom. Nurtures and invests social capital to generate more collective wisdom. Anyway, so the more social capital you have, the more people can work together to create greater abundance and well-being, which is pretty obvious, I think. The word social capital is a handy little tool for talking about this, but it's something that is very, very easy to relate to. You can have, if you have very low social capital, you end up creating the conditions for social upheaval for people across races, across belief systems, across religions, across classes, battling it out. You have revolutionary and war, the basis for war, and these societies that just get torn apart about religious or cultural, clan, whatever differences. There's been some really horrible things that have happened along those lines. That's examples of how low social capital can go. And politicians and other power holders who nurture divisiveness and alienation are in fact reducing the social capital. They're draining social money out of the bank when they do that. Mixing and matching. So examples are various interracial and interfaith, intercultural initiatives. There's many different kinds of that. Commons Cafe is a thing, a kind of cafe, world cafe kind of thing that was developed, where you consciously recruit. You go out and recruit, 10 people from a black church, and 10 people from a country club, and 10 homeless people, and 10 soccer moms, and you set up a bunch of tables, 10 tables with 4 chairs at them, with a bunch of, cards with questions about your ordinary life in the middle of the table. And the chairs are color coded, so all the soccer moms go to chairs that are gray, and all the homeless people go to chairs that are red, etc., or have little cards on them stuck to them. So each table has all four of these kinds of people at it. And then you turn over one of the cards and everybody answers with what's on the card. So like, what do you know a lot about, for example, might be on the card. And suddenly the country club guy discovers the homeless guy is actually a PhD in Shakespeare or something like that. That sort of blows apart the stereotype. And where this has been done, I haven't heard of lots of examples, but the few examples I've heard, and people come back for, half dozen times, and then it's all over, and they go, we don't want to stop. They've gotten friendships have formed in this process. So this is a very conscious bridging capital exercise. And of course, community celebrations of all kinds, street fairs and whatever, where people come out as part of the community rather than as part of their group. Instead of going to church, you're having a celebration of an interfaith celebration, or you're having a community celebration. We're really proud and happy as a community. And all kinds of, things within groups. And groups do their own things, so you don't have to organize that, but that function in the society is building the bonding capital.